Hello, my name is Nguyễn Hoàng Trúc Vân. You can call me Queen, is my English name. In this video, I want to talk about my experience being a trans woman in Vietnam as of right now in 2023. I'll start with my experience with my hormone therapy. I started the hormone therapy back in the past of September 2019, which is almost 4 years ago already. It started out with intramuscular injection, including two giant jars of these medicine. The white one, which is called Oestradiol benzoate injection with the yellow font, 1 milliliter for one bottle. Each milliliter contains 5 milligram of Oestradiol benzoate. And then the brown jar with the white font, the yellow line on the neck near the top. It is called Peloton Depot, 1 milliliter for one bottle, and it contains 250 milligram of hydroxyprogesterone capriate. I will have the images link, of course. So I took each of these two every 7 days, combining them together inside a single needle, and then inject them myself to an area slightly above my butt. So I did everything myself. I did that for 3 months straight until an incident happened where a lot of blood was involved. I couldn't get the needle the right way into my skin. I bent it while it was in my skin, and I bent it in a way that it could be actually a fatal wound if I was being too reckless. I also have picture for this incident. Also, during that 3 months, I took another pills, which is called Berries, that contains ethylene that is actually not recommended for HRT for trans women by the World Professional Association for Transgender Health, or WPATH for short. However, I didn't know about it at that time, as information regarding HRT for trans people in Vietnamese language were extremely limited, misleading, and misinformative, and they are filled with monetization purposes, unfortunately. After that incident, I stopped injecting myself, and I also stopped using the berets because someone else told me that it's not good for my health in the long run. I went to a private clinic called the Men's Health in District 10 to have a nurse inject them to me instead. And then I kept that routine for nearly 1 year, same doses as before, until around November of 2020, where the expensive to pay the nurse is getting higher and higher. And also, I was getting tired of having to drive a very long way to the clinic every week to do the whole process. It was very time consuming. Then, then I stopped injection. Uh, and then I switched to this another medicine is called Oestrogel, which is a transdermal gel. It absorbs through the skin instead, and I have been using them since November 2020 up until the present day, which is this one, or this one is a new packaging. They are the same medicine, just different packaging. That's how I started with my HRT. I had to do other things mostly by myself because the hospital, they unfortunately they won't do prescription for the medicines, and the nurse, they won't inject these meds into you because I don't have these documents precaution regarding my medicine. The endocrinologists in Vietnam are actually knowledgeable enough to make a prescription for HRT for trans people, but they wouldn't dare do that because simply the government doesn't allow that, and or there is no specific instruction from the law on how to treat us with this medicine. Therefore, all the medicines I bought are from the gray market or from certain knowledgeable folks in the community that actually know how these medicine work. Um, Only HRT can help me with my gender dysphoria about my body, because I was upset and uncomfortable about how my body didn't look the way I wish it to be. There's only so much you can do regarding your body and how you change it with taking care of yourself physically, mentally, and spiritually, and skincare daily routine. But there's only so much you can do without, medicine. If it weren't for HRT, I would not look like the way I am right now, and I would still have gender dysphoria, which would definitely cause me to be unhappy for many years, like I was in the past. Unfortunately, that is what almost trans women in Vietnam have to go through if they want to have access to HRT, even though it's DIY, which is already not safe enough, considering all the misinformation out there on social media. I am lucky enough to be able to learn about HRT and how these medicine work thanks to my good friends, but not everyone has the same luck as I do. So that's my story regarding my personal HRT. Hormone therapy. As of what rights trans people don't have right now in Vietnam is a tricky question because the answer are not like black and white. In theory, we still have as many rights as any other regular citizen do, like going to school, opening your bank account, owning a land, having access to medical services, besides HRT and sex reassignment surgery, or HRS for short, of course, everything. Um, the awkward part is that if those rights involve your personal documents, like doing anything regarding your bank account, health insurance that needs your citizen ID to be shown, most of the time you will get into trouble. You will be asked personal questions or sometimes be interrogated as if you are impersonating someone else. This will most likely to happen if your voice and or your appearance does do not match the sex mentioned in your documents. Sometimes the government officers just straight up refuse to serve you and help you with whatever problem you have, which happens a lot in the rural areas of Vietnam because people over there are more likely to be ignorant or transphobic or homophobic. If you sound and look like you're assigned sex in the documents, people just consider you an ordinary citizen like everyone else. I once had trouble depositing money into my bank account simply because my old name does not match my new legal name since I was able to change my name. Regarding marriage, trans women in Vietnam, we can't get married to cis men because it's considered same-sex marriage on paper. The government still does not recognize marriage for same-sex couple. If a trans woman get married to a cis woman, which would be just a regular heterosexual couple, but in reality, it's like two women getting married. So any document revolve around that could get into a lot of trouble and delaying. Right now, trans people, not intersex people, they belong in a different group. In Vietnam, we can't have access to HRT and SRS, which we have to resort to DIY hormone therapy, like I mentioned before, my personal experience, and perform surgery in illegal clinics, which could lead to unfortunate events, like the incident I had with the needles, or even worse than that. We also cannot change our sex on a document. However, we can still change our names and surnames, but it's a very tricky and time-consuming process. And it also heavily depends on the officer that handles your case. If you're in bad luck, your request will be simply denied for whatever reason. And if you try to sue them or bring your problems to the upper manager, the upper officer, you will still get into more trouble. So most people just give up if they are denied, or you have to slide in a lot of under the table money. I was luckier than most that I was able to change my name because the officer that handled my case, he was very understanding. He was very sympathetic with me, and he tries as much as he could to help me change my name. And there was no money on the table involved, fortunately. So yeah, that is my whole experience of being trans in Vietnam as of right now in 2023. I hope things could be better in the future, but I don't know. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.